Hey, everybody. It is that time of the week again. It's Tuesday night. It's West Virginia Mountaineer Mafia, and I have my good buddy Joey here, and we have a lot to talk about. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Big 12 and how West Virginia, even though they have no losses in the
in the
conference,
Big 12.
Big 12, that's right, Joey, thank you. No losses in the Big 12 are still not getting any love. So we'll chat about it here in a minute. Hey Joey, so it's no news that West Virginia is not getting any love from the talking heads in college football. So
It's never any news. Do we ever get any love? I mean, I'm serious. Look, I have been a Mountaineer fan for a very, very long time. We didn't get any love when we were elite, when we were really, really good. We didn't get a
yeah,
lot of love. We got no respect. Does anybody remember? We were going to the Sugar Bowl 2006 against Georgia. How much love did we get? Absolutely zero. Nobody said we could win that game. They had Georgia instilled as a big, big winner, and we beat them. Got fast forward 1 year later, we're playing Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl, and nobody gives us any love. Everything was red. Remember, the runaway beer truck said right after the game, every state was red. You know that we
yep.
couldn't win this game. But there was one state that said we could win this state, and that state was West Virginia, and we did. So, we don't get any love. We don't ever get any love. Now, I can understand that not getting any love this year. We do have a couple of losses with Penn State and Pitt. The Penn State game looked terrible. The Pitt game we should have won though. So I am not seeing where they're thinking that we're really that bad of a team.
Yeah, Joey, you're right. And here's the thing that blows my mind is the fact that that the conference overall is not what everyone expected as far as where the teams should fall. So, uh, Joey, do you want to share the ESPN or do you want to share the other Big 12 standings? Which would you rather look over?
Well, I have the ESPN FPI rankings up
Let's look
here.
at that. Let's talk about
All
that.
right. All right. So I might need to make this a little bit bigger. Let me try to make this a little bit bigger for you, so that you can see it.
That's
It's not going
perfect.
to not
Yeah.
going to make it too much bigger. All right. So Kansas State Wildcats number one in the FPI with 11.2 as the FPI ranked number 20. Now Kansas State has a loss to BYU, right? So there's some
It
disrespect for
makes no sense.
BYU. There's some disrespect for BYU right there, who's totally undefeated.
And beat
Hasn't
their ass.
you know, and beat Kansas State's ass. And then they got Kansas State number one in the FPI. All right, then we move on to Iowa State. I can totally agree with that. I really can. Iowa State at this point, ain't nobody proved they can beat them yet, right? They're 4-0, so yeah. Then they move on to Colorado. Oh my God. Look, Colorado, they've won a couple of games I didn't think they'd win, but they're not too far off where I figured they'd be about this point in the season. They got the rest of the year to go, and they're going to lose most of those games. Colorado is probably going to end up like I figured, somewhere around 7-5, 8-4, or 5-7, or 4-8, somewhere. I mean, I could see them 5-7. I don't see them going to a bowl game. Sorry, Colorado. So yeah, but I don't understand these FBI ratings. But look here, they have West Virginia all the way down here. Look who's ahead of them. Kansas Jayhawks. They're
Ye-
1-4. Hey, by the way, somebody tell ESPN West Virginia beat Kansas.
That's a head scratcher. And here's the thing. I mean, TCU is the one that just blows my mind. The fact that they're in the middle of the pack, and when we thought there'd be the cellar dwellers, and Cincinnati's exactly where I thought they'd be. But you know what? They're actually a good team. They've won some. They beat Pitt. They've been competitive. And as far as the new FPI, or not FPI, but the new predictions for odds, those kind of flip flopped. You sent me an article. I read it. It was fantastic. It seems that there's now 3 games on the schedule Virginia was supposed to win via the prediction, and now it's kind of flip flopped. And Cincinnati's one of them. That's the one that sticks out as far as I was when I.
And
when
what's
I looked
crazy,
at
there's a couple of things that have flip flopped that show us winners now that showed us losers at the beginning of the year. And do you have that pulled up? Is that what you got pulled up at the bottom?
I had it pulled up and I shut it, so I have to pull it up again.
Because I would love to share that. Maybe we could share that at the 8 o'clock hour or something on the other show.
Do that. We'll do that on our show.
Yeah.
The Boys of College Football. We'll pull that up. I didn't want to take
it's
that
absolutely.
from you.
If you haven't seen that yet, guys, it's absolutely
we'll talk
crazy.
about it.
It's absolutely crazy. But just the FPI ranking, I know that a lot of people don't pay attention to it. I know most people really don't pay attention to it. But it's just hard to believe that, if you look at these FPI rates, look, Utah all the way down there to number 36 in the ranking.
Crazy.
And, not only that, but look how far down in the Big 12 they are, just above TCU.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. With the backup quarterback, they were competitive against Arizona. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Oklahoma State is 3-2. UCF is 3-1 with a loss in the Big 12. Colorado is 4-1. Kansas State's 4-1 with a loss in the Big 12. Utah Utes are 4-1 with a loss in the Big 12. And they were the front runner in the Big 12 this year. And to me, I think they probably still will win it. I think they might have just had a bad game. I don't know. But, they beat Arizona. Arizona and Utah play every single year. They know each other.
Yep.
Arizona's a pretty decent team. So, I just think that, but this West Virginia thing just absolutely kills me, dropping them below Kansas. And they just beat Kansas. Where the hell are these people at? This is a computer thing. And it makes no sense to me. This is why, and a lot of people don't remember this, and I mean, some people do, but, this is why 15 years ago, 20 years ago, we wanted out of this kind of system. Computers were making the decisions in college football. And a pure example of that was 1993 when West Virginia was undefeated, and they took a one-loss Florida State team and put them up against an undefeated Nebraska. When West Virginia was number 1 in one poll, number 2 in another poll, the computer said, I think they're number 3. Let's make it Florida State and Nebraska.
Yeah, I don't know how that math added up, but that's exactly what happened. Yeah, it makes no sense. Here's why, when I made the thumbnail for this show, I did what I did, because guess what? They announced those new uniforms, and they look fantastic. I'm excited. I just watched that video of Garrett Green coming out modeling them, and the kids went nuts. And is West Virginia turning the corner at the right time? Even if they lose to Oklahoma State, they're going to wear those uniforms in the night game in Morgantown against Iowa State. That's all the mojo they're going to need to. I'm looking ahead, because that Oklahoma State game's 50-50. And you can talk yourself into corners and all around. Everyone talks about keys to victory. Guys, it's a god darn coin toss. That's the way I look at this Oklahoma State game. So,
I guess it is, yeah.
So turn this is the new look Mountaineers, and we'll know for sure when we watch them play in Stillwater. And then fast forward into 10 days, they're going to be playing at home at night. So, it's looking good for the Mountaineers. Where 2 weeks ago, the sky was falling. They beat Kansas. They looked decent against Kansas. What are your thoughts, Joey?
Well, so the Oklahoma State game, honestly, as a Mountaineer, I would feel a lot better going into it if Oklahoma had beaten Kansas State last week.
Mhm. Yep.
Honestly, I would have felt a lot better. And here's why. I just feel like they're going to be fired up as a team. They're gonna think they slouched down a little bit, and they know they got to play this week. Whereas, if they could have beat Kansas State, then after this game they realized, oh, we got a bye week, and maybe overlook West
Yep.
Virginia a little bit, right? Now they're not going to be overlooking this. There's absolutely not going to be overlooking. So I don't see honestly West Virginia pulling out a victory in Stillwater. But like you said, even if we lose this game in Stillwater, we could still, do pretty good because we do get Iowa State at home, and like you said, it's going to be during the night. It's going to be a night game. Kickoff set for 8 o'clock. Black uniforms being revealed for the first time coming out there. It's going to be great. Now I don't know how Brian Josviak feels about those black uniforms
doesn't
coming
like
out
'em.
there on the Iowa State game. So our little buddy Brian Josviak will probably be cussing the whole time that game's getting ready to kick off.
Well, it's something that they used to say, just win, baby. And if the Mountaineers win in those black uniforms, I'll feel a lot better. I don't think I was a big fan of the gray because they kind of choked a few times wearing those unis. There's case in point, a bowl game or two. But look at this Big 12 standing. I mean, it's wide open. It's wide open. And even if West Virginia loses, they're going to control their destiny the rest of the way for the most part. Let me get back to the Big 12.
But yeah, because there's plenty of teams, that in the Big 12, there's plenty of teams undefeated, and then there's teams with one loss. West Virginia don't have a loss yet in the Big 12. So if you're looking at like UCF, who everybody says is a darling to win the Big 12, or Kansas State, who everybody says is a darling to win the Big 12, they've already got a loss in the Big 12.
Right.
So West Virginia can afford a loss in the Big 12 right now. They really can. And I say that because I think it will matter when it comes in the year as to when you can keep your team together and get back on track. If we're going to get a loss, we probably need to get a loss right now. Honestly, I think if we beat Oklahoma State and then lose to Iowa State, it may hurt us worse than vice versa, to be honest with you. Because by that time, there'll be more standings out, there'll be more undefeated teams, and it'll look like they got to catch up. And
Right.
they'll play and make mistakes because they feel like they got to catch up. So right now, everything's kind of dead, even heat. It's a big game. West Virginia needs to pull out this victory at Oklahoma State and Stillwater. And can they do that? That's the main concern there. I mean, this Oklahoma State team ain't no slouch. I don't give a
But they're
shit if
no
they
slouch.
get their ass handed to them by Kansas State.
Right.
They're no slouch.
But I'll tell you this, Joey. They lose to West Virginia, there's no way in hell they're making the conference championship.
Oh no, there's no way.
So they really
And honestly,
have
I
to
don't
go.
think they're going to make the conference championship anyway.
No.
Even if they beat West Virginia, they're just not. They're 0-2 in the conference right now.
Right. So
Right.
Kansas is another team that I think has snowball chance in hell. I think Baylor has a better chance than Oklahoma State or Kansas because I think they have a more favorable schedule moving forward, even though it's still going to be rough. But Arizona State's 0-1, but it's not 2 losses. Your TCU's, your Cincinnati's, your Utah's, everybody up to. I mean, most of the conference, majority of the conference has that 1 loss, but you have a few teams that have 2 wins.
One thing I've noticed, Shane, have you noticed that it seems like for every team in the Big 12 that really has a legitimate shot. Now, I'm not talking about the Cincinnati's and the Houstons and stuff like that, but the teams in the Big 12 that legitimately have a shot to win it, like the Kansas States, the Utahs, the West Virginias, the Arizonas, the Iowa States, they got a pretty tough schedule early in the season. All of them do. It's pretty tough. We all play each other early, and then later on, we've got kind of like not cupcake by any means, but our schedule gets a little bit easier. All of us. I've been noticing that, and it's kind of weird. But if you look at it, and you think, okay, so Kansas State's already got a loss in the conference, and Oklahoma State's got a couple losses in the conference. All right, so West Virginia has no losses in the conference. You think about that. Okay, we're just now hitting the tough part of our schedule, but we knew that Kansas was going to be one of the tough games in our schedule. We
Right.
got by the Kansas. Let's get by the Oklahoma State, who, by the way, is so struggling just a little bit. I mean, they did beat Kansas State, but listen, they've got a couple of losses too. So there's a chance there that these are two pretty even teams that might come down to coaching. That might be unfortunate. But let's hope Neil Brown can outcoach Mike Gundy for one freaking damn game. Can we? Can we just hope that? And look, let's go into Stillwater and get this win. But this conference is wide open right now. As always, when you're only played one or two games in the conference, it's going to be wide open. Everybody's a contender until they're a pretender. Bottom line, and actually, if you look down through the Big 12, I can only see maybe one or two pretenders. Everybody else is still a contender.
I agree. I look at even the pretenders were once contenders. I mean, I look
Yeah.
at Oklahoma State, Kansas, but Houston and Baylor, they're pretty much they're where we thought they would be. But
Yeah.
Baylor, to their credit, they've been very competitive in every game. But close only counts in horseshoes. Speaking of horseshoes, guess who needs to be lucky? I think BYU needs a little bit of luck, and I think they can make it into the championship. But if you had a magic ball that wasn't a magic 8 ball, Joey, who were your? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it! These are the 3 teams that are going to be vying for a conference championship. Pick 3 teams.
Oh my God, are you serious? Wow.
We're gonna do
Kansas
this.
State. Kansas State. I'm a firm believer in Kansas State. I'm also a firm believer still in Utah. I really am. So Kansas State, Utah for sure. That third one that will be vying for the conference championship. Is it Oklahoma State? Is it West Virginia? Is it Iowa State? We'll find that out in the next 2 weeks for sure because West Virginia's got to play Oklahoma State and Iowa State. Let's say West Virginia drops both of those. Well, then you're just looking at Oklahoma State, Iowa State vying for that third spot.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say West Virginia wins one of those. Now you got another 3-man race for that third spot still. Look, these new conferences with no divisions and stuff, they're going to get kind of crazy. And when it's all said and done, it's going to come down to who's ranked the highest. That's how this stuff's going to happen. So we've got to get ranked. Guess what? Guess what we've not been since 2018? Ranked. Not one friggin' time since 2018 have we been ranked. That is, and we have been ranked, I think the last, I checked, like 23 or 24 times out of the last 25 years before that. We have been ranked
again? Is the Kansas State ranked?
I'm sure they are. I haven't even looked, to be honest with you, but I'm sure they are. When you know your team's not getting in, who the hell cares about top 25? Honestly.
Well, yeah, I would like to see the Mountaineers play a ranked Iowa State is. I'd like to see them play a ranked Iowa State team and also ranked. Beating ranked teams really helps.
I'd like to see them. I'd like to see them play at a ranked Oklahoma State team, Kansas State team, Iowa State team, Arizona team. I'd love to see all that. Likelihood is slim. And then at the same time, do you really want to play all them ranked teams in a row? So be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's better than playing a team that's 0-2, like Colorado. 0-2 in the
But you were talking about BYU. Their days are numbered. Your days are numbered, BYU. I'm sorry. It begins this week. Arizona's coming in to play you. They're coming to your house. Can you defend your house one more time? I don't think so. I think Arizona's going to beat you this
BYU.
week. I am not buying BYU. Not buying BYU at all.
How about if they beat Arizona? Are you going to be thinking a little differently
about what now?
About BYU if they handle business this weekend.
If they handle business this weekend against Arizona, I will put BYU up there on a top level tier in this conference. Look, I don't have them there right now. Don't think bad, BYU, because I don't have my team there by far. I don't have my team there as the top level. I'm talking about the Kansas States, the Utahs, and stuff up there. That's probably the two best teams in the conference, I feel like. And then Arizona is probably like a 2 tier. BYU, I think maybe you're a 3 tier. And I know that's no reflection on your season so far. All honesty, it's not a reflection on your season because you've been fantastic. But who have you played this year? Southern Illinois, SMU, Wyoming. You beat a very good Kansas State team, and you beat them rather soundly at your house. Did Kansas State have a bad game, or did you have a good game?
That's
Then
the
you beat a
question.
mediocre Baylor team. So you've had one game all season that actually should have been a challenge, and you beat the damn socks off of them. You absolutely just beat the crap out of Kansas State. But guess what? Now Arizona's coming in there. And can you continue that streak? I don't think so this week. I've got Arizona beating BYU, and
Yeah,
then it
but
don't get any easier for you.
Arizona just played Utah. That was a hell of a game. So let's see if they
Arizona
can
beat Utah.
Yeah, let's see if they can handle their business 2 times in 2 weeks. Because I'll tell you what, that's going to be tough. That BYU game against Arizona is probably going to be other than the West Virginia game, the one I'm going to be keeping my eyeballs on, because I'm going to tell you, just for pure entertainment value, I like watching BYU. Iowa State, we've been high on them all year. I think Iowa State is the front runner in this conference, and I think you called it.
I agree.
They're under the radar. No one was talking about them, which is kind of the way they like it in Ames. And then all of a sudden, they're like that shark on that 20-foot great white under the water. You just see a little bit of that dorsal fin. They're going to be eating some Big 12 hiney, taking some bites out of some butt cheeks, and they're just they're going to tear up the conference, guys. Watch out. That game coming in 2 weeks.
But if I look at the rest of BYU's schedule, and this was just me looking at it from an outside in view, honestly, if I had to sit down and study your stats, study your players and stuff, I might give you a little bit more respect, but I can't guarantee that, honestly, because I have kind of studied your players. I don't think you're as talented as a lot of the Big 12 teams. So BYU, I think you are a pretender right now. You're batting a little bit over 500 right now. It's what it feels like to me.
3 out of the next 4 games are not going to be easy.
Right,
Arizona.
You got Arizona.
Even UCF is going to be at the bounce house. Isn't going to be a layup. So,
and think about it. That's a long trip. That's a long trip from Utah to Florida.
It is. It is. It's going to be really tough. So, to finish out the year, they got 2 layups, but they're going to quickly go into the meat grinder.
The next 4 games are going to define BYU. Here's my prediction for BYU. I think by the end of the season, I think you finish out 9-3 and maybe even 10-2, and that's a very, very damn good year for BYU. I really think that you would be very happy with a 9-3, 10-2 record. That's where I see you by the end of the year. And guess what? What's that? A Pop-Tarts Bowl or maybe an Alamo Bowl?
It might be.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Tax Layer Bowl, or I don't know, but it's definitely a decent bowl, and I'd love to see that happen for BYU because I like their head coach. I even know his hat is way too small for his head. Just need to get that guy an adult size hat. But maybe that's part of his success is that just keeps.
I think he just has a big head. I think it's just it's a good size hat. It'd probably look like it would probably fit over my whole face. I think he's just got a big head.
They have to have big hats for big heads. They have big shoes for big feet, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He's such a good coach, isn't he? I mean, he really is. He really is. I mean, look, he's coaching at BYU. You think about the recruiting base, it's kind of limited compared to like a Notre Dame, who's another religious school, right? I mean, Notre Dame can pick from the cream of the crop out there to come and play at Notre Dame. BYU's a little different. It's hard to pick from the. Yeah, it's definitely a lot harder. It's a lot harder to recruit at BYU because it's a different religion altogether, and there's not too many of them out there, and people just don't want to go to a Mormon school that are, if they're not Mormon, right? So, I think they have a little bit harder time recruiting. BYU, so that tells you that their coach, I think he does a really good job. And he's got real men on the team, too. When they're 24, 25 years old and they're they're juniors.
Yeah, you're not getting guys like Jim McMahon, but BYU has had a lot of very famous quarterbacks in their time, and they have a national championship. That's something that can't be said about any other team other than Colorado on here. And those are the two on the top of the list. But I'm looking forward to seeing Prime maybe get his get beat, because Colorado or Kansas State's going to be looking to blow the Buffs up, and I picked Kansas State to beat them. That's a 10-15 game. It's another one of those games I'll be falling asleep after the second quarter, but I'd love to step and watch. But I don't know, Joey, it's going to be interesting. But guys, Tuesday night we have Joey and me are going to go on our Voice of College Football show, West Virginia Mountaineer channel. So that's going to be at 8. So if you haven't gotten enough of us now, well, you can get a second helping here in about half an hour. And then
and we may touch on this again, but we probably won't go over this again. It's going to be a completely different show. Yeah,
completely different show. Yeah, we have other things we're going to talk about. So, guys, thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on Thursday if my kid isn't participating in the homecoming parade. So then I'll be here. If not, then you'll have to catch me later. Joey, any final words before we pop off?
Yeah, just join us over there in 30 minutes on the Voice of College Football, West Virginia style, over there at the West Virginia channel. And, we are going to have a completely different formatted show for you tonight. We're going to have a good time, and you guys will enjoy it.
Well, let me get some comments here real quick before we pop off. Mountaineer Larry said, I hate we missed out on J.J. Roberts. That's why I'm hard on Leslie. Just imagine.
And we're going to talk a little bit of recruiting over.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, guys. So hold on, Mountaineer Liar with Kenny and Drumwolf 62. We will definitely. And Drumwolf said when I said the Jaws thing, he said he could hear the Jaws when I said about that 20-foot shark going right along there. But guys, stay tuned. We'll be back in about half an hour, and I'll catch you on the next show. Bye, guys.